welcome to Snowrunner Active Suspension. I'm UK Gamer 808 and I'll be taking you through the active suspension, which vehicles we have it and what it's all about. So the first vehicle we're going to be looking at is the TUZ16 Action, which has the active suspension. Now it isn't one what you have to go and find on the map. You get this as soon as you get update 7.0. This is what came with it. Now you see the first one there, I have the white one. Now that is the standard Action, and that one you can carry the 39 inch to 43 inch tyres as standard. Now with the active you can take exactly the same size tyres, so you're like, well, why isn't there any bigger tyres on it? So the largest size you can have with the active is the 43 inch tyres, which is the same as the standard one. And then we go over to the raised one, which you can see the raised one is bigger. You can have the 47, you can have 39 to 47 inch tyres on the raised suspension, and the only trouble is it does make it a little bit tippy. It's quite easy to tip over, but you can have autonomous winch, so it makes things a little bit easier anyhow. Now when we look straight across the roof lines there, and you can see there's not a huge amount of difference between the standard and the active, and you see the raised one there is up a little bit, raised up higher. And then when we actually operate the suspension mode, which is on the menu there, you just push the button and it just raises up, and you can see there we've sort of nearly raised up to the size of the raised suspension, which is quite well. I was surprised it would go up that high, so it will go up that high, but it won't give you the bigger tyres, which I suppose it'd be too tip. You'd be able to tip it over too easy. So the whole point of the active suspension is you can use it normally on the road, and because we've got a lower centre of gravity, it does make it quite stable, whereas the Tuz with a raised lift kit on it with the large wheels, it does, I just tend to use that all the time, and of course larger wheels mean larger, well, easier to topple over. Simple as that really, isn't it? Whereas the smaller wheels, it just gives you a little bit more manoeuvrability, and it does give you more of a top speed with the smaller wheels as well. But as you're driving with the active, now I found this in the lower position, it proves to be pretty stable. So if you're going to use any of the suspension, use the active one. And I know you haven't got the full size tyres on there, but it helps you out because you don't really need them, and you're less likely to topple over. So if we go down a little bit further down here, we have got some rocks, and I'll show you the difference with the active as you can raise and lower it, which does help you out a little bit. So if we go onto, well, we won't go those rocks, they're a little bit too big. We'll go down there a little bit, and we go just down the road here, and we've got these rocks over on our right hand side. So we've got our, let's put our active suspension into play, change suspension mode and lift it up just like that. Now when I have used this a little bit, I was using it with it lowered down, and quite a few times that if you got stuck, you could use the, you could just use it again just to lift it up that little bit extra, just to get you over those rocks. So let's go over these rocks here, and hopefully we will tip it, because that is my favourite thing I do. Let's get some traction. Yep, and it's not having any of it over there. Come on, get up those bloody rocks. Alright, we'll go over to the right a little bit. There we go. Right, now we're on some rocks. That's what we want to do. And then let's get that camera in. If we want to drop it down a little bit, you can do, just like that. So it raises that, lowers that centre of gravity just that little bit more, just to help you stop topping over. So ideally, you want to be using the active rather than the raised or any of the standard one, because the standard one will get you, will do the same job as the active, but if you get stuck on anything, you're not going to be able to raise your chassis and get it out the way and clear the obstacle. whereas the active you can. So let's go and have a look at the next vehicle, which is the TUS 108 Warthog. Right, so here we are again with the TUS 108 Warthog, and you can see the white one there is the standard one. Same with that one, where you can own, well, that one you can only have 39-inch tyres on the standard variant, which was a little bit strange. If the active, you can have the 39 to 43-inch tyres, which you can see I've got that on there. And then the raised one, you can have up to the 47-inch tyres, and of course you can have all the mud tyres on that as well. Now we go across the rooftop again, and you can see there's not that huge amount of difference. But as soon as we knock the active, it jumps it up that little bit more, and you see it's not far off the raised one. Now bearing in mind the raised one has got the 47-inch wheels on it, and the active has got 43-inch wheels, so it's the same sort of size, although it's got 5 inches less on the tyres, but it just makes it a lot more stable. So let's go and put this one through the test. We'll drop that suspension back down again, and we'll take it back down the track. Now the TUS 108, you have got to be careful with it, because if you put the roof rack on, it is quite tippy. But I found with the active suspension, it does solve that problem and doesn't make it want to tip over as badly as it does with the raised. When I first used this with the raised, and I had the roof rack on it as well, and every other bend I just rolled it, and it just kept falling off every single time. I just roll over and kept doing it all the time. As soon as I fitted the active on it, I found it a lot more stable. It goes where it wants to, and it keeps you out of trouble basically. And if you want that extra bit of lift, then you can do. Just jump it up, and it'll get you over the top of those rocks. Whoa. And yeah, we weren't going to be going over that one, but whoa, whoa, whoa. Nearly lost it. Tell you what, let's put all-wheel drive on. That always does sort of work. Well, hell, anyway. Come on, get back over. There we go. So we're in the lower position. Oh, and we rolled it. Right, so there we go, rubber side down again. And let's make our way down the bottom here. And you see we're on the lowered active suspension at the moment, and it does keep that centre of gravity quite low down, even with this heavy fuel tank on the back, because this is the thing what doesn't help with the Warthog. It does help. You put that on the back, and it is quite easy to tip with the extra weight on the back of it. So let's just go and try and crawl over these rocks again. Hopefully we'll be able to do it without rolling the bloody thing. And we'll raise, whoa, let's get that suspension raised up that little bit more to just give us that little bit more ground clearance, and there it goes, up it goes. I'll tell you what, that's not going to have it there. Let's go down a little bit. Typical, I did a little test earlier and this went over this without any problems, but now we're having issues just like that. But there you go. Anyway, so the active suspension, does it make a difference? Well, it does. It does make quite a big difference, and if you want to use it, I'd recommend it. It's a pretty good bit of kit. I did think it worked a different way, but that is how it works. It just raises and lowers the vehicle. Just a shame you can't have the big tyres on there, but if you have the big tyres on there, you're going to tip it over, because that's what I found with the Warthog. With the large wheels, I do tip it over. So what about the last vehicle what has active suspension? Let's go and have a look at that one. So here we have the Derry Longhorn 3194, and you see on that one we have the active suspension actually raises and lowers the trailing wheel there, so for picking up heavier loads and for raising the vehicle up slightly. So if we go to the chain suspension mode and we get that level down like that, and you can see it doesn't raise it up a whole lot, but it raises it up just that little bit to make this truck into a really good truck. Now this one has got all-wheel drive with permanent diff lock as well, so it's a pretty good truck. So the whole idea is you raise up your active like that, and then say if we were going to go and load up with this trailer we've got ready to go, go and hook that up there. Well, probably gone a bit too far there. There it is, stop that, attach the trailer, and then with the loading we can change the active. There it goes. You can see it raises the whole lot, the whole cab, and everything moves up, and the trailer. You can see the back end of the trailer lifts up, and it just gives you that extra little bit of lift, and it's a pretty good upgrade for it, because it makes this Derry, I left it in my garage and I haven't used it. Now it's got this active suspension on it and the all-wheel drive, it makes it into a pretty good hauling truck. See, I have a problem with the trailer there. So this one is a non-DLC vehicle, so you don't have to have DLC to have it, and the active suspension for it is already built in. You don't have to go and find an upgrade or any of that. All you have to do is select it. It's ready for you when you buy the vehicle. So pretty cool. Now I've tried this going through all the mud, dragging a trailer around, and I was quite shocked on how well it did. Now I used it in the lower position, and as soon as you go into if you get stuck, you raise it into that higher position and it gets you out of trouble. It really does. So it's an essential upgrade for this truck, because it's made this truck now, the Derry Longhorn, a very, very good truck to use. Righto, that's it for today's Snowrunner active suspension on the TUZ 108 Warthog and the TUZ 16 Action and the Derry Longhorn 3194. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, why not check out one of my other ones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.